Welcome to this edition of Las Películas Sábados Gigantes at the Cinemarijuana Theatre. Hey, that's right. Coming at you all over your face with another week of amazing movie chat here at the Cinemarijuana Theatre. Today is an interesting one because we actually have two films to talk about this week.
And we're playing catch-up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are. Oh, but okay, so let's just get introductions out of the way. Then we can take care of business. Then we can talk about these two fucking movies, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so...
All right, wasting no time.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
do this.
So
show on the road.
So introduction before we go. Just at the top of things, we have the film Graceland from 2012.
What a start. What a start.
From 2012, Graceland, the Phillipino film from 2012. And we also watched The Sting from 1973.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3.
Wow.
We had a double features. We had time. So let's get introductions out of the way, starting with me going clockwise. I'm Ed.
I'm John.
I'm Zeb.
I'm Chris.
I'm Kenzie and Condi.
Nice.
Oh, shit. I thought I was going to be Condi.
We're all
No, I'm Matt.
R.I.P.
I'm
Condi
Spartacus.
today.
We're all Condi.
I'm Spartacus, and so is
we're
my
all a
wife.
little bit Condi. Okay, so
Except
let's
for Michael J. Fox.
before we discuss the films, new order of business, and this might not matter to the listening audience, but in previous weeks we've been doing our podcast immediately following the viewing of the film or films. We've been doing it right away, which has been fine, but occasionally problematic. If we have something to do, like if there's a show we're trying to get to, or there's a midnight movie, and we have a double feature or something. Sometimes time gets a little backed up, and also too, people tend to be a little shagged out. There's much blazing. And often, and often.
Speaking of which, I think you want to get that kush.
Yes,
burning.
yes, and also much alcohol consumption sometimes. So by the end of the film, people
on a plus. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I mean the movie is fresh in our minds at that point.
That's true, but so hang on now. We did discuss this. We did discuss this at
And
length
other
too.
things.
At that length
Okay,
too.
So-
So
I'm
Yes.
on the seat of the edge of my seat.
okay,
The seat
so
of my chair. Let's
so
do this.
Last week at the Cinemarijuana Theatre, we had an interesting, busy night because it was John's birthday party celebration.
Happy birthday again, John.
Yes,
Thank
happy
you.
birthday from last week. And so we did, and
17 years old.
we technically had two podcasts to do. We had the wrap up for the You Blew It Oscar theme, which is just recently ended, and then we were supposed to do one for the film that we watched, which in this case would have been two films.
So it's supposed to go podcast, movie, podcast.
Right.
But when you throw in an entire bottle of Jameson's cask,
Yes,
Yes,
Garrett
drink.
brought a really nice bottle of Jameson that we
half a
plowed
bottle
through.
of what's one of the wax on
Maker's
there?
Mark.
Maker's Mark, yeah, and
There was much beer. We had
There was
we,
much
we,
beer.
we
Cider.
had, we
And
had
cider.
Yeah, we had Angry
Cider.
Orchard cider. We had the chalice cans of Stella,
Yeah.
which are not the regular cans; they're the 14, 15-ounce cans. So,
Reds.
Yeah.
so we were
Angry
pretty
Orchards
shit faced
and-
by the time we got a late start, anyways, because we did the pre-podcast,
Yeah.
and then we had a double feature, so everyone was shit faced, and by the time the movie was over, half of us weren't here, and the other half were
Some
pretty
disappeared.
fucking out of it.
We were like, where's John?
Yeah.
John was very tired.
John tired. John's
Damn that cat
So-
drink.
John.
So
Sounds
John
good.
sleep
we were
now.
we were faced this week with the conundrum, with the dilemma that we had two podcasts still to do. But when we were talking about it, we thought, and if this doesn't work out, we can always go back and do things differently again. But we thought we would try for a while. If we started doing the podcast at the beginning of the evening regarding last week's film. The advantages, okay, the movie isn't immediately super fresh in our mind, right? But here's the advantages of that. Number one, it gives us a week to reflect on it and think about it and process those emotions that we're having immediately following the film. Because it's not like we can't talk about those. It's not like we can't make a note of it for ourselves and talk about them when discussing it. Mm-hmm. But then we also have some time to process it. Maybe to even watch it again if you want. for people that might have not been here, but they're going to be here the next week, it gives them the
gives them a
week
week
to
to
catch
get
up
caught
and
up.
watch
that's a
it.
good point too.
That's
So that
especially
they
for
can-
me, where I'm guaranteed to miss at least a couple every series.
It gives him a chance to be able
like,
to
dress
You
it.
catch up
talk
on all
about
that
it.
jazz yet?
No, there's a lot of stuff I haven't caught up on.
Also, in addition to that, we were hoping that maybe discussions might be a little livelier if people aren't so sleepy. If we do it right at the outset when everybody
Or
gets here,
shit-faced.
or shit-faced, right?
Or stoned.
right?
And also, we have more people.
Well, there's that too. There's that too because waiting till afterwards, people have a chance to leave. If we do it up front, maybe we can get more people. Maybe we can get Phil
fuckers
Swaggins.
are stuck here.
Maybe we can get Jason Land. You know what I mean? Maybe it's easier to get Garrett in on it because
It's called a captive
if he stays-
participating
Yes,
audience.
it's a captive audience.
Yes,
you
yes.
gotta. If you want your pudding, you gotta eat your meat.
Well, I think more opinions. I mean, we don't want to. We
Eat your
don't.
meat if you haven't had your pudding.
We don't want to. I mean, we don't want to go over the top here, but I think more opinions, especially if kept to time, can help.
That's actually excellent.
So we
This
thought
is
we'd
a-
try.
This is a good idea. I think.
Yeah,
this
we'll
is
try.
something to try.
And if it doesn't
Yeah.
work, we can always go back to
Because we can
doing
go back.
it the
Because
other
my
way.
thought was too, like when I see like a really good movie, which a lot of movies are, like the next day you're thinking about more stuff.
Yeah.
When you've had some time to process it, and we feel like a lot of the time with our podcast, it's like everyone's like, oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Like, I loved it. It was great. It was good. It's great. And it's like, well, maybe if we had more
you
time
a
to
chance
think about it,
some of the sort of deeper
we
issues.
get a little more in-depth, conversation.
Right. You might be able to think of like, maybe things that are in the subtext didn't materialize to you until you were thinking about it a day later or something like that. But like I said, we should also always be aware of our initial responses to the film, so we can provide those as well.
Oh God, are we gonna have to take notes?
Well, I do anyways, and this is I'll be
Ed
able to take
takes
hopefully
notes, so you don't have to.
better notes.
Ed, can
yeah.
you look at your notes.
So yeah,
Start creating copies of
no,
your notes.
you're gonna steal my thunder. So yeah, and then the other thing is that we're going to announce the next theme soon, but we're not quite there yet.
We actually thought we had it picked, but then
We had we
Second
all
thoughts.
of us kind of simultaneously had a change of heart.
yeah. So we're still working it out. But
So
I
we
think
knew changing it was the right thing to do.
it may be between two right now, just like a not quite a coin flip, but a left or a right choice.
So that'll be All right, so synopsis time. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about one film, then we're going to talk about the other. Yeah, we're not going to talk about
Yeah.
them both at the same time.
not one
Yeah.
and the other.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's go to Wild Card Kenzie for a synopsis of Graceland.
Oh boy. Okay.
We can provide you with the IMDb one if you need.
All right. Graceland definitely, I think, has naked underage girls in it, right?
That's what
At
I
least
saw.
one.
I do not
Way to
admit
start
to that.
Well, I could have swore.
I'm
Well-
certain that girl was of
Preface
age.
this synopsis
Saw
with
something.
caution.
Yeah.
Underage
She
nudity.
was probably just really short. It was just a really short adult
Malnourished.
woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was hungry.
Reverse progeria.
Yeah.
She was 17. and
That's
a half.
what it-
cruelest joke.
Buttons-itis,
Some
I think
women
they
just
call
age
that.
well.
Anxieties.
Yeah, she's a
I think they
Ben
call that.
Buttonitis.
Yes.
going backwards.
Ben Buttonitis.
Older than all of us.
Okay, so okay, well, that's not really
Okay.
much of a plot synopsis.
Okay, so
Are you
anyways,
sure?
Yes. that's more of a plot detail.
Yeah, but the two type of people in this world are like those who hear that and immediately want to see the movie, and those who hear that and are like never gonna watch the movie.
There's basically pedophiles and not pedophiles in this
Yeah,
world.
that's it.
If you think about it.
There's Jareds and non-Jareds.
I wonder.
All kinds of people.
Oh man.
Jared.
Well, does
So-
anybody know what percentage of
Eat
the
fresh.
people are pedophiles? Like, I wonder microcosmically how many pedophiles there are at the Cinemarijuana Theatre now.
Hopefully none.
Try to guess at home. You'll
I
be
don't-
If it's like,
pleasantly
yeah, like, what in
Look
every
for the blue
7
dots.
people is
Send your guesses to pedophiles.
What in every-
Care of the Cinemarijuana Theater.
one in every 6 citizens?
Does this
Likes
movie top Child
children.
Bride? I think.
I think it does.
Yeah.
Well,
because
hang on.
we haven't
Whoa,
even
whoa,
gotten
whoa,
to
whoa, whoa.
synopsis.
Think about the time it's made.
But it
Whoa.
was a totally different
We
level
gotta,
of
we
like,
gotta halt that. We gotta
maturation.
secure that shit right now.
Well, it was.
The question of topping is a broad question. We You are so jumping the gun.
You know, there might not be.
We're not even past the fucking plot synopsis.
There might not be any
What happens in
pedophiles
this
in the
movie?
Cinemarijuana Theater, but I guarantee there's like 3 in the complex.
yeah.
They're all on the
Conservative
second
estimate,
floor.
John.
Yeah, so low balling it.
Okay, come on. Let's get this shit in
so
check here. So
synopsis.
Kenzie,
Okay.
synopsis,
Por favor.
You
please.
should probably cut all of that out.
Yeah.
But okay.
Snip, snip. Doo.
So there's this guy, and he's a chauffeur for
You
this
lost me.
really.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead. There's a guy, and he's a chauffeur.
That's rude.
Dude, you gotta block
Okay.
that blue light.
Oh, yeah. I got Ryan Seacrest right here.
Okay, continue, Kenzie.
Okay, so he's the chauffeur for a really rich family, and the rich dad is kind of like this bad guy. And anyways, they both have daughters like in the same age, and then all this shit pops off, and I don't really know how I can continue without giving away the whole ending because I will be really excited to talk about it.
Well, but I
Technically,
think it's okay to give the ending away.
The
Where
Cinemarijuana
spoiler.
Theater is a
Spoiler
spoiler-free range in the sense that it's free to give spoilers.
I just worry about any potential
That is all
listeners who
spoilers.
haven't seen it and then they like want to see it.
Well, we're going to be
But I
discussing the
guess-
film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So
we
So
should.
if
We
you haven't
should.
seen the film, pause this podcast right now.
Watch
Go
it.
Come
watch
back
it.
later.
Come back and pick up at this spot.
We'll wait.
Yes.
And
If
then
you
Okay.
can, if
every
you can
film
find a
from
way
now
to
on.
get out of the shower,
Okay, then I'll tell you what happens.
you can finish cleaning the filth off.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So then the dad, the girls, they ditch school, and so the dad picks him up, and he's like the chauffeur, and he's really angry at them, but they both get in the back seat of the car, and then like they get pulled over by this cop, but little does the audience know that it's actually a bad guy, and so then he gets in the car and he shoots the rich guy's daughter, even though he was supposed to only kidnap her.
Because they switched school outfits.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
he shot the wrong one.
Okay, so I think that's
He
pretty good right there. We don't have to. You don't have to
And
go
then he
point for point the whole
kidnaps the
film.
other daughter.
And then yes, and then holds
turns into a
holds the daughter
ransom
for
thing.
ransom.
And there's twists and there's turns.
It's very much in the style of High and Low, the Kurosawa film
Yeah.
High and Low, based on the Ed McBain, I think, novel.
And I assume
where-
this movie was either based on that movie or based on that
Well,
book.
in High and Low, you have this situation where Toshiro Mifune plays this businessman, and he has a child the same age as his chauffeur's child. And the chauffeur, the two children are playing, and people show up to kidnap the politician's son, but they kidnap the chauffeur's son instead. But the chauffeur's a bum. I'm not a bum, but he's broke. He's got nothing.
She's a
He's-
chauffeur,
he's
yeah.
lower caste, right? But Toshiro Mifune is a rich guy, so they're ransoming the chauffeur's son for money from the politician. In Graceland, it's a little bit of a switch. It's the driver's child that survives, but he doesn't say anything because he's afraid that they won't want to rescue his daughter.
Well, yeah, but it's also, I mean, his daughter gets kidnapped,
Yeah.
but they kill the other one.
But if
instead of-
he tells them that your
Right.
daughter's dead, like why do they give a shit
Yeah,
anymore? And
so
his
then
daughter's
he-
not going to get
right,
rescued.
So, and so he has to hide the body of the.
So anyways,
That's exactly what I said.
and the
well, I,
boss.
but I was just contrasting it against the High and Low.
The boss is the pedophile too. The boss dad, just in case that wasn't clear.
So
He
there
was-
is there is a sort of a would be altruistic
right.
intention from
what goes down.
the kidnapper guy. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. This pick was Zeb's.
Hey.
Zeb won. He won the first draft, and I picked this. So we're going to start your timer, Zeb, and tell us why you picked it and what you thought of it. And bang, you're on.
I originally had 3 picks, and I had to pull Garrett aside for a faculty conference, and, and he's like, "Oh man, that sounds actually pretty good." So we went with Graceland. This movie was not even on my radar until I saw another movie called Bullhead, which is probably not on anybody's radar in here.
I couldn't find anything on this movie hardly.
Isn't
it
there
is-
a
it is
Melvin?
like,
There's a
uh,
Melvin's record called Bullhead.
And
There is?
it was
I'm pretty
released by
sure.
Draft House Releasing.
Yes.
Which is doing a phenomenal job of like finding these obscure foreign independent films and giving them a wider release. And I saw the trailer for Graceland, and I took the jump, bought the DVD, watched it, and loved it. And I'm kind of fascinated with crime in foreign countries, because if you were to do this story here in America, it won't work. You got the FBI, there's Amber Alerts,
Yeah,
there's fucking
yeah.
vigils. Next thing you know, you got a fucking law named after a dead kid.
Right.
Whereas if this were to happen in a non-westernized country, I'm not talking about Germany or England,
Yeah.
if you were to do this in like Indonesia or in this case the Philippines, then you add a whole different new dynamic where you add in that corruption,
Right.
people not seeing what they're supposed to be, such as the politician, and this shit does happen out there.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I was very fascinated by that, and also the twists and turns along with it. And I'm a big fan of movies where like little minute details in the beginning pay off in the end,
Yeah.
and it kind of makes you feel smart. Like,
Oh, yeah, when you pick up on it.
yeah, it's like, oh, that was a dude he was drinking with at the bar.
That's it.
That does give them rewatchability, though. I like a movie like that where it's like
Yeah.
you see stuff that you might not get the first time through after you've seen the whole
The
story.
usual suspects.
Well, that's you
Oh,
go back and
totally.
rewatch it, like, oh, hey, like that's that guy, and like I didn't see that
Club.
before.
Yeah,
He's
you're
faking the limp. Oh, spoiler.
So I enjoyed it. It was brief and to the point. Not really a shot was wasted in the film.
Yes, it's a very
Pun
brief.
intended.
It's yeah. it is brevity is king
Oh man.
in Graceland.
Yeah, and if you were
Yeah.
to, remake this in, in America, someone says, I'm making an American remake of Graceland, it's going to add a whole new dynamic. It's going to suck.
Yeah, first I was gonna suck.
Yeah.
First, it's going
Secondly-
to suck, and it's going to add a whole new dynamic. They're probably going to add a love interest to the dad, yada, yada,
Oh
yada.
well, of course.
But what I liked about this one, it was very low budget. But however, how they filmed it was very big budget. The use of camera, the use of the shot, the use
Yeah,
of scenery. And of course, you got to suspend your disbelief because in the Philippines, if you leave a car out in the dumpster, the tires will be gone. Hobos will be having butt sex, listening to talk radio in the back seat,
I presume the film was shot digitally, and I know it's sort of hipster's choice to want film, and I mean I'm one of those. I would much rather go see a presentation on celluloid than digital, but digital photography allows a filmmaker to, on a minuscule or a meager budget, to have some beautiful shots and some really great looking stuff.
And I think it's really great because it kind of opens the door to more filmmakers with a unique perspective.
Yeah.
Sure.
Not just in America, but internationally
world.
as well.
Yeah.
It's the future of cinema in a lot of ways, just because film will become so much more of a
Right.
specialized thing that anybody and everybody will be able to film. with their
It's
phones,
funny how
with
that's
their
sort of
tablets.
coming up as like traditional Hollywood as we know it is sort of crumbling in a way, or sort of having
Well,
to shift
everything.
to
It's
change.
like a techno virus. Everything's
Yeah.
eventually just becoming computerized.
Yeah.
So I really liked this film. It was very well done, well written, well directed. Although it's not a 5 out of 5 for me, I gave this film a 4 out of 5. Great film, but not one that you would want to watch immediately after
Yeah.
it's done, like all that jazz. But very well done and a very good representation of what's available in the international film community.
Yeah. I think that's a key point to make too. Is that that overseas cinema, there's a lot of really wonderful stories being told from perspectives that just people from America wouldn't even consider, and it's really great to see this. To see films like this from other parts of the world.
And for our listeners in Germany, be sure to watch Keinerhausen. Be sure to rent it at Das Blockbuster so I could keep getting my royalty checks.
Are there
I'm in the movie for 2 fucking minutes.
Are there still DOS Blockbusters in Germany?
There's many Das Blockbusters with the 2 umlauts over the O.
Nice. I should mention before we go around and get everybody else's opinion on this. Graceland from 2012, written by Ron Morales, who is also the director. And it stars Arnold Reyes, Menji
Nobody you've ever heard of.
Menji Coba-Rubius,
Or can pronounce.
Dito De La Paz, and Leon Miguel.
See, and the fact that it's filled with a bunch of nobodies. They may be big stars over in the Philippines, but here you could suspend, like if you had like George Clooney or Brad Pitt or Chris Evans and the role of the dad.
Yeah.
That kind of takes you out of the realism of it.
Yeah.
It does.
The fact that there's no namers in this film kind of puts you back into it. Like, oh
Yeah.
shit, this shit could really happen, and what would I do if I was in that situation?
Well, and just to back it up a little more too, even on the IMDb page today, the film's from 2012, and it's like, be the first to add a piece of trivia. So it's like nobody knows shit about this movie.
The girls were not really underage.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all.
Yeah,
hope.
please,
Let's just add that just for a
please,
safety measure.
please, somebody make sure and put that up there
Oh,
now.
women with buttonitis were employed.
Ben
Perkins were used and deployed in this.
Deployed.
The Merkin budget. They deployed.
The fucking line item
Merkins.
budget. Merkins, 5 pesos.
Is that what they have in the
It's in the
Philippines?
credits, Merkin Wrangler.
Pesos, Merkin, Wrangler.
Because remember, he was asking for the ransom was in pesos.
Was
Like
it?
a
And I was
Okay.
million pesos.
and I was like,
the
oh, like, was it
equivalent
like
of
$20?
Oh yeah. Merkins by Vidal Sassoon.
It's all like like the credit at the end. It's all Merkins.
Merkins. Stylized.
Merkin
Merkin.
1,
Merkins.
Merkin 2.
Coming to you. Merkins.
So 4 out of 5 for
So
me.
4 out of 5 for Zeb. Okay, all right. So let's go around then because we still have a lot to discuss and time is precious. John,
Yes.
tell us about Graceland.
Yeah. Well, I was shocked. It had nothing to do with Elvis. And there was no peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
Fried
yeah,
peanut butter.
yes.
sandwiches,
That's the
if you
important
please.
part. Yeah, no, it was really good. I
The
mean,
best part.
like I said, I mean, I assume, and this would be great if this was on the IMDb trivia to confirm it. There's not even a Wikipedia page for this movie, but to confirm that, like,
Dude, the internet.
it
Get
was,
on it.
I know, right? Somebody make that. I don't know. I edit
Somebody
Wikipedia,
on-
but I don't create pages. So somebody who knows what they're
Americans.
doing needs to make a
Somebody
page for
on the
this.
internet get busy.
But it had to, I feel, either been inspired by Kurosawa's High and Low or by the original book because it's so
It's
much
pretty-
of a similar plot.
It goes. It just deviates from it in a
right,
couple of key ways,
which is great
but-
to do its own unique thing. Like it's not like it's a
Sure.
remake or anything, but I feel like it has to have at least been like an homage to or inspired by. But it was very brutally, honest and like real and like didn't pull any punches in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I did like that, even though it was shot digitally, it was shot really well. I mean, it doesn't look amateurish, like
No, it's wonderful.
some of the ones they've done over here, like stuff like Cloverfield and stuff. I mean, they've done these
Yeah.
digitally shot movies that look pretty shitty. And it's great to see foreign cinema that could, I mean, I'm sure that would not do well if they released it over here, but you could put that in the art
I don't know that it
houses.
did well in the fucking
Well, sure,
Philippines.
sure, but it wouldn't be because it's not good. It's just because it's too real.
Well, I mean, also too, you have to think about too how many movies are being released every year.
Well, yeah.
And it costs money to advertise these things, and it's hard enough to get people. They're apathetic about a lot of shit. Even whether you're a film snob or you're some dumbass that just likes the stupidest shit on the earth. Everybody's a pain in the ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
and
gonna
it's
be
just
tough to
kind of
get
hard to
something like
get
this going.
noticed. Something like this,
Well, I'm sure that's why this movie's so
Yeah.
there's so little
I mean,
information.
can
about
you
it.
imagine? Like, I know we haven't got to Kenzie to hear her opinion on this film yet, but just pretend she hadn't seen it yet. Can you imagine a trailer for Graceland and her being like, "I want to see that"? Like, I'm thinking, no.
They would
She's
have
gonna
to-
be like,
Possible.
she's gonna be like, "Where's the hot A-listers?"
They would have to do some kind of when they edit those trailers to make
Yeah.
it so it looks nothing like the actual movie.
That's
Yeah,
to
where's the
trick people into
romance?
going
She's
to
gonna be
see
like,
it.
"Where's the romance? Where's the musical numbers? What the fuck?"
Like they'll have a movie that's in a foreign language, but they don't show you in the trailer at all. Like nobody
So-
speaks in the trailer, so they don't show you that it's actually in a foreign language.
Or they get that stupid narrator to
to
narrate
talk
what's
over it,
happening.
right? So it's like people.
Like
Go,
a fucking hill.
Two
like,
people.
well, people
I
aren't
was
gonna go
I'm
see
not
a movie
fucking
and
see
read.
that.
A man alone in the country.
From a world.
Two people separated by greed.
Doing stuff.
Two brothers.
But yeah, I really liked it. It was I even though we kind of spoiled some, I feel like there's some other stuff that I don't want to say because we don't want to spoil too much.
Yeah, I mean,
But there was some
yeah.
there was a twist that I totally didn't see coming, which was great. Like because it's so often they hinge a movie on a twist that's either stupid or you totally see coming
You
a
know
mile
what?
away.
No, I'm sorry. Fuck the spoiler because we'll spoil it later on. We won't spoil it yet.
Okay,
but
well,
that's
say
something
what
I
it
want
is
to come
now.
back and talk
But
about.
at least for me, I didn't see it
Well,
coming.
because no, but okay, fuck it. We'll talk about it now. You should have afterwards. You go like, duh.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because afterwards you go like
He had the
like
tone,
that's
the
why they shot it
motivation.
like that. Like all
Right.
the like the fact that they were making it so like obvious that like he didn't do it, like you should have known that he fucking did do it.
You know, the tip-off should have been Phillipino Colombo, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
Colombo's never wrong.
Ever.
And that guy was totally doing the Colombo thing.
And he
so,
knew exactly
yeah,
what
and he was
fucking
totally
time it
right.
was.
So
Absolutely.
I should have listened to him. But it was great. I thought, obviously I don't know who any of those people are, but the cast did a really good job. It reminded me a little bit of what is it, like Lady Vengeance, I think, or Sympathy? Which is the
Mr.
one?
Vengeance.
Mr. Vengeance is the
That's
one.
what I felt like. I felt it was
Yeah.
a cross between High and Low and Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance.
Yeah, I picked up on that a lot, which is you could do a lot worse for inspiration. So yeah, I think I would give it 3 stars. Yeah, I think but solid. Like, and once again, 3.5. If I could do 3.5, but I
Right.
can't. So 3 stars, but a high 3. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. That brings it to Chris. He is risen back from the dead
Yeah.
on R.I.P.
Sorry, guys.
Go ahead, Chris, and tell us about Graceland.
Oh yeah. Wow. A real shocker in
Yeah.
so many ways.
What are some of those
Just,
ways?
uh,
Chris?
Yes, please.
trying to figure out how to tiptoe into this.
Fuck,
Nah,
don't worry about
just
spoilers.
barge right in.
Don't worry about spoilers, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, naked girls.
Well,
At the top of the list.
isn't there only
Shot.
one?
Shot girls, murdered girls.
It's right at the beginning though, so it hits you right in the face.
No, there's one in the middle, too.
Well, okay, so
I,
there's 2.
I forgot about the one in the beginning. Oh, yeah. Now I remember.
Sex trade. Yeah, all good stuff.
They're all good
Excellent.
things.
Don't hold back.
So glad you're back from the dead.
You're lively as ever.
Vital words of wisdom
With
coming-
vitality.
He
coming
had
from the keystone of the
maggots had some
podcast.
time to chew on his brain.
I guess so.
He's not
Now that, so there's
capacity.
nothing you'd like to elaborate on at all about the film.
Well, no.
Do you want to use your time to talk about does it top Child Bride?
Well, that was my 'cause-
Okay, so
the challenge was, the gauntlet was pretty much laid down before the film ever started, and so the whole time
that's
I
right.
was thinking,
Zeb did make a disclaimer at the
So-
beginning of this film.
this is gonna be off the hook, right? So
So when you say top Child Bride,
right,
because I
As
think
far
this film
as-
does top Child Bride in a number of ways: quality, enjoyability.
And
sure.
every movie.
I'm
tops
talking like
Child
kinetic
Bride.
offensiveness.
Okay. Well, if I may be, and if anybody wants to, opine as well, I don't think this does top Child Bride.
No,
No, because there's more nudity in this, right?
yeah,
But the girl in Child Bride actually is a child, right? I bet you.
There was grass on the field, right? If I remember correctly.
I don't know that
we all know the guy played ball.
you don't see the field.
No, you do. When
in
the
Child
camera
Bride.
no, I didn't see Child Bride. I'm talking about.
Okay.
in-
Okay, in Child
in
Bride, you
what's
don't
it-
see the field.
dodge a bullet there.
Thank Jesus.
that's-
No, you do. You do see the field, and there is grass on it.
Right.
So play ball. No, but what I'm saying is,
And you're talking about Child Bride, right?
no. Back to you fucker. Back to Graceland. Okay.
Oh shit.
Those two girls that you saw, while petite, I'm sure they were.
I'm sure
they-
it's
but also,
easy
I'd
to
like
find
to
small
point out-
Asian women
I
who
would-
can
I would-
pass for Asian children.
I would like to point out that
All
somebody
the
God bless
conversation
them.
we're having.
that simple nudity isn't inherently pornographic here. I'd like to bring it back to that. We did talk about that, I think, on one of the very first
I'm
podcasts.
assuming Child Bride.
No, I think it
No,
was about
actually,
the,
interestingly enough, I don't think so.
No, I think it was Adventures in Babysitting, wasn't it? 'Cause
Yes.
The
I think
the
that was
Playboy
it.
was
I think
Actually-
the Playboy. That's right. That's right.
From
So-
my days of running a photo lab, I can tell you that no bullshit. And this is going to go where your thing is going. No, there are actual legal outlines for what is and isn't pornographic.
Oh, wow.
And nudity is not inherently pornographic.
well, that's what I'm saying. Because here's the thing. And that's why Child Bride isn't illegal to watch. Because
Right.
even though it's like you see something, it's not illegal because it's not. I mean, I don't know what the.
I can't believe this is getting
Let's-
so many minutes.
What? Just
Okay.
what if though? Let's
What I'm
propose
saying- what
that
I'm saying is
Jason
it-
Land was jerking off while we were watching it.
It was naked women, not naked guys. So why would he be jerking off? No, I'm just kidding. No. But what I'm saying is, and think back to like American Beauty. Thora Birch, when she put those things in the glass, she was 16. Her parents signed a waiver, and it was good to go.
Oh, really?
And all of America was like, "What a fucking rack, dude!" And like the girl's 16 years old, but those are nice fucking tits. I mean, put me in jail.
They change once she reaches the magical age of 18.
But Thora Birch was 16, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I know. But
But what I'm saying is, okay, so there is nudity in the film, right? But why it doesn't top Child Bride is because I think Graceland is I don't think it's trying to posit itself as trying to make any sort of social change, but I think it is more.
Really?
I think it is more socially aware.
Yeah.
I think it's dealing with a situation that probably is a thing for
now
reals in a lot of places in the world, and it's using that as a backdrop to like tell this kind of story while also maybe kind of like commenting on like this greater evil that's like going on behind the scenes and more than people realize.
Well,
whereas Child Bride was done just to get your ass in the seat because you go Child Bride, like,
Right.
oh yeah,
yeah, the title.
sign
everything,
me up.
yeah.
One's just
And
kind of
there's-
sensationalism,
And
one's-
there's very little, if anything, socially redeeming about
Yeah.
Child Bride.
Well, that kind of touches on a note too. Is it in a lot of ways? It kind of I like the film a lot. I'm giving it if I could give it a 3.5, I'd give it a 3. I almost want to give it a 4, but like
you give it a 3.5, you give it a 3.
is that what I said?
Yes.
If I could give it a 3.5, I would. But I think I
Okay.
gave it a 3. But yeah, it felt a little bit like a PSA in a way, like, hey, this shit's going on, it's wrong.
Well,
Yeah,
but
to
do
kind
you
of
feel
spread
like,
that message to the world, maybe?
But I don't know, a PSA that seems like I
Just
don't
a
know,
little-
like a little
Hey,
heavy
kids,
handed.
don't put your daughter in danger. Just get some illegal black market organs.
Well, I looked at.
Come on, folks.
That type of
Come on,
PSA
kids.
for your health.
But, yeah.
Okay. Well,
I
hang
don't know
on.
what- I don't know.
Okay, before
something
we-
about it just it felt like maybe did they receive government money to like do the film or something like that?
I don't
Like,
know.
I don't know
There's
how it
little,
works in Philly.
I
There's
would
very
like to
little
know-
known about
Yeah.
Yeah.
behind the scenes on this
I
film.
can
And
see
I
the
don't know.
government not wanting a story like that getting out and not being like, this doesn't happen in this country. There's no kidnapping,
No, but
murder,
that's
and
the
child
thing.
brides in the
That
Philippines.
shit happens in every country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like if you try
I
to
mean,
film,
look at they just busted
Well-
Jared fucking Fogel.
if
You know,
you try,
it
if
doesn't
you
happen
try to
in Flavor
film,
Flav.
if you
Who
try to
would've
shoot a movie in India, right, and in the movie you want to have like an Indian guy like swat a fly, like India won't let you film that movie there.
Oh,
Wow,
because
bravo.
there's a bad guy.
That's why they had such a hard time filming Temple of Doom because
No
you
fly
can't.
swatting.
They don't want you to put anything anti-Indian
Right,
in
right.
anything you film in India.
Okay, all right. Well, let's
which
move
speaks
on.
to the lack of westerns coming out of India.
This
yeah,
is
hey.
that's why
Easterns.
Graceland should be seen. It's generating some heated debate here at the Cinemarijuana Theatre. All right, so Chris, if you give it 3.5 stars, you'd give it 3. All right, Kenzie, Kenzie, your turn to tell us about Graceland.
Wild card Kenzie.
Showtime.
Okay, aside from the ending, which wasn't satisfying for me, I actually really like this movie. And, I mean, you already put the thing up on Facebook, so I gave it 5 stars.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Whoa, a rare and coveted 5
Well-
stars.
But my system is based on enjoyability factors.
And whether the people
The
are in
land
bone
system.
zone.
No, not even. There have been plenty of hot guys in movies that I just hated.
And were any of those guys in the Bone Zone?
In this movie?
Yeah. In this movie,
I thought the main character was okay.
it was boneable.
Yeah,
What about the
I don't know.
Colombo
Right.
detective?
They were still
No.
in the bonus sphere.
I didn't like him.
Filipino Colombo, you mean?
Filipino Colombo.
Philolumbo?
Colombo.
Colombo?
They're on your bone dar.
Columpino.
Columpino. Yeah, that's it. Columpino.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, continue.
I don't know. I like the story. I like the twists. I didn't see the last twist coming. And yeah, the whole thing, it had my attention the entire time. And it
You
was
certainly
really
couldn't say it
entertaining.
was boring. I mean, it wasn't
It
long
wasn't
enough to get
boring.
boring.
No.
Really.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
All right. You found the suspense riveting from the get-go?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
it was kind of funny because, as Chris mentioned, Zeb did preface the film with the sort of the gauntlet dropping R.E. Child Bride.
I wish you could have found like you should have gone like the museum company and purchased a gauntlet so you could like thrown it down
or like a
on the
white
ground.
glove you could have
Yeah,
slapped Chris in the face with.
How dare you, sir?
But the interesting thing about that
accepted.
is like it's like like starting the film then like I know something bad is going to happen, but the first portion of the film like you don't know where it's going to go or what it's going to do. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so it kind of that like almost like you're like you're drawn in because you're like waiting for that fucking other shoe
And
to
then it
drop.
happens.
Right, and then it's like it's really fucked up right away. You're like, oh my
and
goodness.
The multifaceted plot helped to keep it like kind of punchy. It wasn't like you got bored doing anything. There was a lot of different angles to the storylines. There's a bunch of different things going on at the same time.
Yeah, it was okay. All right, so Kenzie gives it 5 stars. All right, Dr. Matlis, take her away.
All right. Yes, this movie is a really interesting watch, and
Yes.
I think it would be a benefit to watch it again because there's so many twists in the plot. Because like you're kind of riding along with this guy, the protagonist, and
Right.
you kind of see the world that he's in. He's he's kind of the lower class guy, not making much money, and who knows if he didn't have this job, like when the hell would he get another one? So you kind of get the feeling that he's just kind of he's biting his lip and just kind of like going through it,
Right.
And he's witnessing all this terrible stuff, but
He can't
what
do
what
anything.
what could he do? So it's like what you're identifying with that kind of character, and then the rich kid's daughter gets shot, and then his gets kidnapped, and you're just like freaking out along with him,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and which he totally is, because like even when you learn at the end that he is the one that's setting it up,
Right.
spoiler, that
Oh, spoiler! Hands out of the bag.
That's it.
but
Well, it's only fair.
you need to kind
He
of
said.
go back and like rewatch those scenes,
Yeah,
where it's
yeah,
like
totally.
okay, this was his plan, and then like right off the bat it gets totally
Get
fucked.
totally cocked up.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, here, let me pass that along. Yeah. So, yeah, I think I would like to try to watch this one again.
Now that
and
you've
not a
known
couple. Yeah. Now that I
twists.
know, because there's other twists along the way, and yeah, I feel like it would be a really interesting watch to kind of like identify like what kind of character you're supposed to be identifying with at that point of the film.
But then
And
what
then
kind you really
you're really-
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So. Ah, jeez.
Geez, with the cush
Editing.
there.
God damn it. Yeah. So, I really enjoyed it. I liked the kind of aspect like Zeb was talking about with seeing like a crime movie in a different country, because the what was his name? The Columbo.
Columpino.
I mean, at first I was like, okay, this guy's being a jackass, It's like you're supposed to hate him, but then as it kind of goes along, you're like, no, dude, this guy knows what's up, and he's just like, he's that way because, maybe in the Philippines you can get away with being that kind of, cop.
Well, and it's sort of that
And-
kind of almost like a trope, like that type of cop. That
Yeah.
cop's intuition, like he's been around, like he's gruff, but he really deep down, like he knows what the fuck's going on. And
Yeah.
you almost think that he's crooked.
Well, no,
'Cause
like,
you assume
he kind of might be, but that his character
Right.
judgment skills are pretty
Right,
on
right.
point.
And it's
Right.
like, so,
On
and you don't
point.
know if it's because he is under more of the influence of the politician boss guy, if he's being like that.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah,
of course, it
that
turns out
could be
that it
true.
turns- well, and I think, but then it turns out that he was right, so you can't fault his convictions, at least not in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. But as it's happening, like when he's like throwing the guy up against the wall, like right after his daughter's been kidnapped,
Yeah.
you're like, dude, who the fuck is this guy?
Oh no, I got so outraged. I'm like, fuck, dude, go out to your fucking job. Like, what are you doing? Like, leave me
Yeah.
alone, you asshole. Like, dude, we saw what happened.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
guy can't be in on it. We saw it.
We saw it. They showed us everything. We were there.
And
Yeah,
lo and
but like
behold,
but being in the Philippines or wherever else, I mean, the I'm sure the sex trade is
I was
is
a witness getting me a report.
There's
thriving.
yeah, it's thriving
Yeah,
in every
alive
country.
and well, I'm sure.
there's a whole
And
new
this
ship
guy
and the hookers coming in.
and this cop, just he working the streets for however long he has, I'm sure he's seen this kind of thing before. And, usually the most logical conclusion is, going to be the one that's true. And that's, that there might be someone close by that has the motive.
Right, because that's when you're taught, when at least here, when police are talking motive, like that's you immediately look to the people close to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And more often than not, that's who it ends up being.
And that's what the guy's saying. Like, the guy just got fired. Like, I'm looking right at him.
Yeah.
Like, convenient for this man.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
All right. So, anyways, I thought it was really good. It was a good watch. I'm going to give it 4.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, that brings it to me. I'm going to restart this timer, but try to keep it as brief as
I think you should put it at
can.
3 minutes, talking about how much.
Okay, but yeah, actually, that's no. Good
The whole
idea.
child bride
little
rant.
leash on that.
Jeez,
Good idea.
you wasted your own time.
And we also got another movie to talk
Well,
about.
no, it's because everybody had 5 minutes, and like Chris would talk for like 20 seconds. So I was like, well, we got a couple of minutes. We only went till it beeped. But anyway, so yeah, I thought it was pretty good, man.
We're casting.
I mean, like I said, I didn't know what to expect, where it was going to go, and it did have all kinds of twists and turns, and it was kind of like at first, like I even leaned over to John at one point. I'm like, dude, this is totally high and low, but then all of a sudden, as soon as you're convinced of that, it's like nope, and it does something else, and it's really. I did want to call because I actually don't have any notes on it. My couple of notes I have written down are on the sting. But the part that I thought was sort of one of the most interesting in the film was when the cops were talking to the daughter when they get the daughter back, and she doesn't, and they're like, "Is this story true?"
Yeah,
and she's at this place where, like, she you know what I mean? She has to make like a decision morally on what she's going to do and what she's going to say, and I thought, that kid. She did a pretty good job acting. We talked about child actors.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about child. I don't know if we talked about child actors now. Typically, they're not very good.
Yeah.
But when a good one comes along, it's really amazing.
Well, especially when so much can hinge on the performance of the child.
Yeah. Well,
story.
and she's not in. I would say the majority of the movie.
No, it's not like in a bunch, but it's
she's very
an
good.
integral part.
Yeah, she's very good, and I thought that was an interesting way to cap it off.
Yeah, there was a lot of facial expressions that you could really read a lot into.
Yeah.
There's just kind of like the minutia that child actors just so rarely can capture.
Right, right, and sort of it kind of the film kind of it should have you reflecting on morality and stuff like that in an interesting way, because where is the right and wrong in this? Like, is what they did wrong, even considering what spurred it with an injury to the politician that they were fucking up to begin with. So, I thought it was pretty good. A taut little thriller. I'll give it. I'll probably give it 3 stars. I might give it 4. It's between 3 and 4.
If I give it 3.5.
If I give it 3, if I give it 3.5, I'd give it 2. But I don't know. So we'll have to see what happens when I put up the. Wait, I already put up the fucking. What did I give it? I already put it up. What am I talking about?
You don't remember?
I
what you
don't.
gave it?
Jesus, I think I gave
Consult
it. I think I
Facebook
gave it
to
a
find out what.
Time to change time.
All right.
Vote.
So that's gonna do it for Graceland. Go out and see that one. And now,
Well, don't go out. You're going to have to watch it at home.
go out. And
You'll have to
acquire
go
it?
very far if you're going to go
Yeah,
out to
yeah.
watch it.
Go out and
Probably.
acquire
Out
it?
to international waters.
Check the internet.
Okay. So
Make sure everything's nice and legal.
I know I'm going to have to
Netflix.
invoke our overtime clause today. I'm sure,
Oh, well, yeah, with double features,
that
that's
typically
worth it.
happens that way.
The
So
dub feature.
before we discuss what we thought of the Stang,
The Stang.
let's go to Das Stingenheimen. Let's go to Wildcard Kenzie for a plot synopsis on Der Sting.
Well, okay. There's a slight problem because I was pretty inebriated by the time we started watching
See,
it.
that's what
Even
happened.
better.
We'll
Okay.
discuss what happened.
That's
what
what
happened.
Well, in that case,
what you
it's-
think happened.
There
That's
was,
the
I know,
best.
there were like 4 chapters. They were all very long. And there was like the
Not
setup,
that
and then
long
the
of a
last one was the sting. I do remember the guys being pretty good looking.
The Bonzo.
Pretty good looking, dude. Those are the two hottest pieces of fucking dang man meat at the time.
Dude,
Those guys
you're
were a
telling me,
couple of
dude, Robert
hunks.
Shaw, dude, #1 right there.
No, I'm not talking about Robert fucking Shaw.
Robert Shaw and Charles Durning.
Although, Charles Durning,
yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. Charles Durning and the black guy that pretends to get robbed at the beginning,
Couple
dude.
of sexy bitches.
Oof. No, of course I'm talking about Redford and Newman, Butch and Sundance. Come on. Pretty, Jesus. Okay.
It's Bonzo.
Okay, I swear to God, Pauline Kael had a one-word review of the film when it came out. It just said sploosh. I'm pretty sure I recall reading that.
2.5.
2.5
Let's go to IMDb then for the plot synopsis.
As Kenzie's failed us.
I'm sorry, Matt. I know, and I
It's
feel
okay.
so bad.
Everybody was passed out by then.
But to be
was.
fair,
Nobody
I was
remembers
against
my
a
movie.
double feature in the first place. I said we've all been drinking. This is a terrible idea.
You did,
Yeah,
and
you're
you called
probably
that
right.
for
I
sure.
did.
Okay, here we
terrible
go. Here we
idea.
go. In Chicago in September 1936, a young con man seeking revenge for his murdered partner teams up with a master of the big con to win a fortune from a criminal banker.
The big con. Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
That's
Big
pretty
con.
much it.
the long
The
con.
wire.
Wow, that was
Okay.
a long synopsis.
So let's
Synopsis.
go back to the clock here. This was a Dr. Matless pick.
Yes.
So tell us why you
Oh.
picked it and what you thought.
Oh, both? All right. Well, why I picked it? Well, to tell you the truth, I picked it because it was John's birthday. Because I knew this was a fun movie. You know, it's a
Uh-huh.
classic. I knew we were going to be drinking.
Sure.
And, I mean, this has been kind of like in my bag of tricks, but it wasn't really my first choice for this free-for-all season.
Right.
But it's a fun movie.
Sure.
That's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, it's got like three for sure badasses of the time. I mean,
Jesus, dude.
yeah,
Robert Shaw.
Redford, Newman, yeah, Shaw. Dude, oh my God.
He's tough as
He's-
fucking nails.
Man,
Yeah,
that's
he
both.
is.
Everything.
You thought he was tough in Jaws. Just wait till you see him in The Stang.
Dude.
At least
real.
he
These guys are
smiled in
everybody knows
Jaws.
that.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He's very humorless in this.
No, he's
Oh,
just.
yeah.
I love the way he's just,
Schlingenheisen.
and like the way he has his limp too.
Yeah.
Just to kind of add to it. He's
Which
just
was a
like,
piece of
he's so
trivia
sweet.
about
yeah,
that.
it was a real limp.
Yeah, he had an
Really?
accident. He had an accident
didn't
on a
know that.
handball court right before they started shooting.
Huh.
Which is such a. I thought this was a Hollywood thing.
Yeah,
To
right.
get a handball-related injury right before shooting your movie.
Well, especially with Robert Shaw, like you think, like he had a shark bit him in the fucking knee.
Yeah.
A week before shooting, and it, you know, he
Just
had
to-
No,
just
this was
suck it
before
up.
Jaws.
a subway ran over it, and he had to
Yeah.
suck it up and shoot.
Subway got
he was in-
accidentally
he-
electrocuted.
He was in one of the
The third
tunnels.
rail.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, continue.
Yeah, well, the limp, I think it just kind of added to his character.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, he's got this look on his face constantly, like he's
Like, he just wants to fucking kill everybody.
well, I feel like he's just like constantly trying to size everybody up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
He's really insecure.
everybody. Yeah,
It makes me
I
wish
mean,
I had a
he's
limp.
he's that kind of wheeler and dealer. He's a banker,
I've
so
been thinking
he's
about
like
getting
constantly
one.
thinking that someone's gonna cheat him. Which, in fact, in this movie, there's plenty of people that are. But he's just
he's
constantly just like
BMOC.
he's got this stare that is just like just crazy. And then let's see what else. I mean, Robert Redford's character, I think, is a pretty kind of classic one where it's, you know, the new blood, the kind of greenhorn.
Yeah.
And I was thinking a lot about like Ocean's 11,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
with who was it? Matt Damon in that one. That was kind of the.
I've
It was
only
Sinatra,
seen the original.
Martin.
No,
yeah.
oh,
Thank
sorry,
you.
yeah.
Thank you. That's what.
All right.
Although
Bishop was in there.
I'm going for the remake.
I have
here,
been
but-
convinced by people that that Ocean's 11 and 12 are actually worth seeing. So I may watch this.
11's fun.
11's.
Yeah, but I kind of got that feeling where
It was like what Clooney, Damon, Brad
Yeah.
Pitt, Andy Garcia.
Yeah.
The 3 A's and a
Well,
C.
yeah, well, I was thinking Matt Damon was kind of Redford's character,
Oh,
whereas
okay.
kind of wet behind the ears, but getting into this big con, to more than anything get the experience. I think he was kind of the one that was under the wing, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's kind of how I saw it. And Newman is just always awesome.
Yes.
I mean, the first time you get introduced to him in the movie, he's just plastered. He wakes up. His first lines are like, nice to meet you, kid. You're a real horse's ass.
Yeah. Well, his face is chiseled out of stone, man.
Well, yeah.
The guy is just, yeah, dude, absolutely. Dude, come on.
Pull off overalls. That's all I gotta say.
Dude, he could pull off fucking
that's
anything. Dude, he made being fucking like drunk and like passed out in the street look hot.
And digging ditches.
I mean, any one of these will work for food guys, probably.
They can
Dying.
learn a thing or two.
That's what I'm saying.
Be more like Midnight Cowboy Story.
Yeah.
All right. Well. Anyways, I mean, it's this thing. It's a classic, and it's just a whole lot of fun, and it was a night for fun. So
Excellent.
And as for stars, I mean, I wouldn't say it was like breaking any kind of cinematic ground.
Sure.
I don't know, maybe 3.5 stars. So
Okay. Okay, well then, John, we'll take it over to you. Let
If
me
you can remember as much.
Well, I've
restart
seen it before, so
Okay,
fortunately,
good.
even though I was not completely conscious of the entire film, I can draw my earlier
restart
memory.
the timer, and you may begin reconstructing your memory of that night now.
It was a dark and stormy night. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, obviously, it's a classic movie. It swept the Oscars that year.
Boy, that's a subject for discussion.
Well, hey, maybe somebody should have picked one of the other movies from that year for You Blew It Oscar.
no, well, I just think it is kind of funny how You Blew It Oscar seems to have hung on a bit because we had 3 picks so far, and 2 of them were, but the staying one.
Yeah, it won. Yeah, And
so
it
it's
won,
it's
best
it's
picture and best.
it's an interesting
actor.
contrast.
Best director, best
So
screenplay.
we've had
Score.
a lot of Oscar material.
Yeah. And speaking of the score, by the way, the whole
Marvin
Scott
Hamlish
Joplin,
adapting the Scott Joplin rags.
yeah, which was great, and I guess was anachronistic in more ways than one.
Well, yeah,
that
because
music
Scott
wasn't
Joplin-
popular from that era. It
No,
was
no,
from before.
Scott Joplin. We're talking like 1912 and shit.
Yeah. So it was interesting to
And
do
this is set in 36.
to choose old music that was older. Also, the director made a really cool choice.
George Roy Hill was the director.
Which some others have done, like A Christmas Story, for example, I feel like has done this, where it's not just set in that era. He tried to make it like it was a movie from that era.
Right.
So like it's not just a movie set in the
In 1936.
He wanted to make it feel. That's why they use the old Universal logo instead of
Right.
the current Universal logo,
Oh no shit.
and that's
even,
why they
even the sets.
yeah, everything they went for to try to really give it that vibe, like it was a movie from that era. And I know other directors have done that. Like, I know, like Zack Snyder with The Watchmen, he wanted that to feel like it was made in the '80s and not just set in the
Right.
'80s. And they always said A Christmas Story. It feels like it feels more like it's a movie that was made when it's set, even though it's not.
Right.
It's from decades later. So I like that because I like that it's got that feeling of a classic movie.
Sure.
And I like that they don't let you in on, once again we're getting to spoilers, but they don't let you in on the big con,
Yeah.
Right.
you the audience, so you get tricked like Shaw does.
Which is so meta.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's true, and it's great. And I mean, obviously, hey, maybe some people out there saw it coming. I know I never did the first time that I saw it. Like, and it's cool that because I find that like with movies that do mysteries, some you're in on it. You know what I'm saying? It's like how some game shows they'll tell you the answer.
The password.
Yeah.
is-
Right. Like you're watching Password, you can't play along because they show you the answer. But you're
Yeah.
watching Jeopardy, you can play along.
Yeah.
And I find movies that are mysteries will do that too. Like some make the choice where you're in on it and you're watching how the other people are reacting to the situation, knowing they're not in on it. And then other times you're not in on it too, and I feel that's the better choice. And with this, it's really cool because you're like, what? Like you don't see it coming.
Well, the whole thing with the completeness of the long con, I think, is something we can talk about because I feel like the whole part with the inspector, there's a whole bunch of kind of the charades basically,
Yeah.
that are really for no one's benefit.
But us.
But the audience.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like superfluous in a way, and like
But
maybe
they
a
wanted
little
to
bit of a
trick
plot
you.
hole.
Sure. But
because-
they wanted to trick you though. But
Yeah.
It's meta, yeah.
That's true. Is that there was some stuff that shouldn't really have happened if it was really just
Yeah.
But you can let that slide.
I think so.
So yeah, it was really obviously 2 titans, well 3 titans really of the silver screen, and a great supporting cast too. Does anybody know what else it went up against?
The Exorcist, American
yeah.
Graffiti.
Yeah, both
Cries and
films
Whispers,
that should have
an
beat it.
Ingmar
Yep.
Bergman film.
Oh God. Yeah, I'll look while we.
I think, and I feel like I think with this one, I think I'd actually go 4 stars because it's got that like nice like classic Hollywood studio era feel, and it's one of those movies you can watch again and again. And I would give it 4 stars.
All right.
Nice.
If I give it 3.5, I give it 4.
All right. Excellent. Okay, Zeb.
Hey.
Tell us about Der Stang.
Das Stingenheisen.
Yes.
I liked the film. It's kind of had a special place, especially like when you first watch a movie. It's like who you were with, where were you when you first watched it. And I remember watching The Sting with my grandma, who spoke little to no English. And it was on the old KTLA, family movie with
Tom Hatton.
Tom Hatton.
Yeah, nice.
But he was not hosting the Popeye show.
God, man.
He's still alive, by the way.
I know. We saw him. It's been a while. We saw him. He hosted a Popeye panel at Comic-Con a few years back, and I flipped out because I forgot all about him in that shit. And as soon as he got up there and started doing his fucking doodles, like it all came like rushing back to me. It was so weird.
He got a huge reaction. That audience, obviously that audience remembers.
Loves him.
I have submitted several squiggles in the hopes of winning a Schwinn bicycle, and never did get picked. Never did get one because I was not in the LA area.
Like we're not shipping that.
Like fuck
you gotta come down and pick it up.
So I remembered the big twist at the end. I was like, they're not FBI agents. So in a way, not only was Robert Shaw conned, but we were conned.
Yeah,
yes,
the same way.
I love. It's great.
So it's a fun film. Of course, it's not as deep or impactful as some other films of that era. It's just a fun time with some of a great cast: Paul Newman, Robert Redford, Robert Shaw, and of course the supporting cast: Ray fucking Walston, Charles fucking Durney,
Ray, Mr. Hand, aloha, Mr. Hand Walston.
Loved him in The Stand. So it's a great film. The music, after I saw the film, bought the soundtrack, bought the sheet music. Because I was learning how to play piano at that time. And so, just started learning how to play the entertainer.
It's
It was
funny.
very poor and shit, but I could play it.
After the first time I saw it, we immediately went out looking for a Farrell's. It was the craziest thing.
It's like the closest, Costa Mesa?
Now.
Yeah, there used to be one in Miramar?
There used to be one right fucking down the block from here.
It's always the 20s or 30s there.
Yeah.
So I enjoy this film very much. It's a fun trip. Perfect for drinking and celebrating John's birthday. So I gave it a 4 out of 5.
All right. Chris?
Yeah.
Can you outstrip yourself?
Can you push to 30 seconds this time?
Yeah, this film. Wow.
Wait! I gotta start the timer. Hang on. I'm afraid you're gonna go too long.
Okay, hold on.
You should have it count up instead of down.
See what he gets to.
I remember watching this when I was a kid. It was such a strange movie to me. I remember because I didn't really follow the plot.
You're like, this doesn't have anything to do with mine and gold. What the fuck?
No. It doesn't.
It really doesn't.
Yes, no mining.
Thank
no
you.
killing animals.
Maybe proverbial because they're mining gold from Robert Shaw.
Shaw's pocket.
Yeah.
Well, there's trains, and you kind of use. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
No, but shit. Now I forgot what I was gonna say. But
Good work.
All right, and
Thanks,
so
Ed.
Kenzie.
Long story short.
All right, Chris. We were talking about The Sting.
You saw it when you were a kid.
Yeah, I remember watching it as a kid. Like they would show it. Some network would just show it over and over again.
Probably KTLA.
It probably was, but we had satellite because we were out in the middle of nowhere, so we could see the
so you were
news
getting
broadcasts.
Yeah,
of
no, having
people just picking their nose.
dude, having a satellite dish when we were kids was crazy. There's nothing like it today.
It was hilarious. But yeah, anyway, I remember not being able to follow it at all and not really knowing what was going on.
I can see it does require a modicum of attention to be paid to it.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to say was like the first time I saw it as an adult, just recently, and boy, there's so much going on there. It's awesome the way it just takes you for a loop with the FBI agents and everything, and spoiler alerts. I know that's what we've talked about, but it's just so cool the way it takes you right along on the story. It almost takes you out of it being a movie because you feel betrayed to some point because they're all actors. So
Right.
how do you know who the fuck is anybody? You know what I'm saying? Like at the end they could just say it was all a dream or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
That should have been the twist ending.
The Sting by Philip K. Dick.
yeah, the Sting.
Like it was all a dream.
When they're
What
talking
was
about-
it?
Some kids looking at a snow globe of old Chicago.
yeah, right.
When they're talking about the Sting, they don't mean like how they bust him at the end. They're talking about the kick in the nuts it is that
that Shaw felt and that we felt.
That's pride fucking with you.
Yeah.
That's Sting. You're gonna feel.
That's the Sting. Is you
That's
think
the
you
Sting
know what's
Marcellus
going on,
Wallace
but
is
nah,
talking about.
Wham. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Excellent.
How many stars?
I forget. I already
Cool.
started.
You already did it.
Fantastic.
If I could give it 3.5, I'd give it as many as I give it.
We're all talking about it, and it's like, okay, Chris, how many stars? Like, I don't know. Whatever.
I already voted. I can't remember that shit.
It's not that hard to remember.
3.5.
I wouldn't.
I couldn't remember, though, to be fair.
I like that
You
movie though.
bastards.
Okay,
I
all
love
right.
the Sting. I love the Sting.
Dr. Matlis is already. Oh my God. I'm such a fucking idiot.
Just jumping over
over.
Kenzie.
I'm not even. I know. I'm not even drinking.
That's
Maybe that's
should.
the problem.
That's your problem.
All right, Kenzie, tell us what you thought about the Sting.
I don't remember any of this thing.
Aw.
I
All
remember
right.
feeling that it was very long. And I
and
guess
very hard.
you guys all say it's a fun movie, and I believe you. But to me,
Well, to be fair, there only is one woman in it, right? And she has one line.
Yeah.
Eileen Brennan.
But the guys are so
Mrs.
hot.
Peacock.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it wasn't a good drinking and hanging out movie. Because I could tell it required a lot of paying attention, and I was
a good
dozing
point.
off the first half of it, and then the second half I just was so tired and drunk and
Yes.
Yeah,
other
there are
stuff,
some
so.
twists that if you're not there fully for.
Yeah, you guys are talking about the Sting. I have no
Our
idea
listeners
what
can't see your
even.
hand quotations. There,
Those are
Kenzie.
hand
Oh, quote, unquote.
quotations.
Air
That's why
quotes.
we need to film us.
On air
See the air
quotes.
quotes.
On air quotes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, I didn't know there was any Sting. I don't know what you guys are talking about. What special
Yeah,
surprise
you
there
weren't,
Nothing
you
is.
weren't
stung.
paying attention. You wouldn't feel the sting.
Yeah, I
Nothing
don't
stung.
have any stinging associated with this movie. So.
All right.
But I kept looking at Kenzie's face whenever Redford or Newman was on, and she had her beer in one hand. She was just like, yeah. And had that face yeah.
That's
That's
right.
in a bone zone. So I'm like, oh well, at least Kenzie's enjoying herself.
So really quick, Kenzie, before we move on, who beats whom to King of the Bone Zone? Is it
I don't
who
even know
Robert-
who's in this movie.
Robert Redford? Okay, excellent,
Can
excellent.
we
I
get some
remember-
photo
Just a
references?
black
I
Yeah,
remember
we
one
need
of
to-
them
Let's just
was
pull it up
hot,
on
and the
the-
other one was maybe okay. I
Robert
think
Redford.
the younger one. I think.
Ooh, shit.
Oh, I don't know.
Pull it up on
Okay.
the pad. On the
All
tablet.
right.
Come on.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
how many
Well done.
stars then, Kenzie?
I accidentally gave it 1 star.
Oh,
Oh,
There we go.
darn.
Accidentally
Wait a
on
minute.
purpose?
You heard it here
Wait,
first.
can't you change that? No.
Okay. All right. So that brings it to me.
I feel I'm not done.
Oh my God. Okay,
Oh, wow,
please
she's got more.
go ahead.
I never use up my full time. But anyways, okay. I think I unfairly rated it though.
So what you're saying is you might be willing to entertain a future re-screening of it.
If I
and-
ever stumble across it in life, I might find that post and resubmit
And
my
re-
vote. But based on what I've seen,
Put
I'm
it
gonna
just
keep
put
it
it
at a 1
just
star.
if you ever see it again, just put a comment on the SoundCloud or the YouTube and
Yeah, that'll
yeah,
be fun.
or a blog addendum or something. All right. So that brings it to me.
You don't need to restart that.
A couple of things. Oh yeah, I do. I got a lot of time to fill. I didn't write down very many notes, but I did write down a couple here. First off, and if anybody can help me with this, that would be super amazing. what the fuck is Bunko?
Bunko?
Bunko.
Isn't it
Oh, that's
bullshit?
Bunko
that's the
division.
booth you were in line for at Comic-Con.
It's
What?
Funko.
Oh, okay.
No. Oh, ha 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 ha. You got me. No, Charles Durning works for the Bunko division of the cops. You hear that? I work for Bunko.
Well,
What the
because
fuck is
like
Bunko?
I think isn't Bunko like something like bullshit? Or
I don't
like-
know. I'm asking.
Well, no, that's why I think
thought Bunko
maybe
was like a
like.
car-
I thought it was
I thought it was fraudulent money.
Right.
It's like
Well,
it's-
right.
I thought Bunko was counterfeit money.
It is. I'm asking. I don't
Well,
have
So
any
what
idea.
isn't that?
Oh, here we
Isn't
go.
that just the slang for it?
Bunko, a swindle or confidence trick.
Right, like
Swindle or cheat.
so he's like from the swindlers,
Oh,
Like
division.
a fraud
Yeah.
division.
Like,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
right.
Okay.
That's
okay.
why he was.
Okay.
Well, why he'd be the one investigating
Because yeah,
the
this
stingers.
this isn't the those who sting. This isn't the first time I've heard that, but I was just like, I don't have any idea what the fuck that means.
It's like a flam, it's like a scam or a flam.
Yeah,
Or a
yeah,
cheat
it
or a
is.
cinch.
Yeah.
Something else I wanted to say. Newman is greater than Redford. That's just it.
In that
well,
or,
yeah.
or in
He
general?
definitely makes better salad dressing.
in life. Newman is more attractive. Newman is a better actor. Newman is a more compelling force on
Oh,
screen.
yeah, there you go. Now we're talking.
Redford
Newman
seems
is a
like he'd be
bigger
more of a
badass.
douche.
Newman is a bigger badass.
Redford is the king of the bone zone.
Okay, all right. Well, there you
There you
go.
have it.
There
You
you
heard it here
go.
first.
And I'm not trying to slam Robert Redford. He's done some good work that I've seen. I haven't seen. But I'm
Captain
just,
America Winter Soldier is just about it.
I'm just saying, like watching The Sting this time, it's like you're watching Robert Redford, and you're like, okay, I can dig that. That's cool. And
I
then
can get into this.
and then Paul Newman comes on screen, and my heart skips a beat, and instantly puts into context.
Oh, wow.
Instantly puts
I
into
can hear you
context
get it
just how Redford pales in comparison to Paul Newman. So I just wanted to get that out there. Also, an interesting piece of trivia I found out about on IMDb. We were all amazed by a shot of seemingly Paul Newman doing card tricks, and the camera you see close up of his hands doing these tricks, and the camera pans up, and we see Paul Newman. It's like one shot. And so it looks as if Paul Newman is doing those tricks himself.
And was he?
No, it turns out he wasn't.
It was a scam.
It was a scam.
Or
It was
a
a scam.
flam.
They hid the cut. There was an invisible cut there.
Wow.
And if this, I hope this won the Oscar for editing because
cut.
like I was
good.
looking for the cut and I didn't see it and now maybe if I go back and watch it again I
might know
I
if you
might
had to
notice
know.
it, but I did not see the cut when we were watching because I was fucking waiting for it. I'm like,
I think we all were.
right. I'm like,
It's
there's
see
no
this shit,
way.
you know it's
dude.
not him.
I'm like, as if Newman's not rad enough as it is, dude. He can do this shit too. Like, are you fucking kidding me? So, but it turns out, and it says on the IMDb trivia, but it turns out that
It did win the Academy Award for Best Editing.
well, that it definitely deserved that one. Which brings me to my next point.
What they should have done is had Redford put his hands behind his back, and the other guy put his hands
Through-
out.
through his under his tits.
Some sort of special
that.
code. like,
That's what they did
So
with Bowie and Labyrinth.
what I
Just that
do,
easy? With his package?
where is it? Okay, here we go. Since it did come up, 1973, the 46 Academy Awards, The Sting won. The films that lost were American Graffiti, Cries and Whispers, which was produced by Ingmar Bergman, so I imagine directed by as well. I don't know. The Exorcist, which is William Friedkin, and A Touch of Class, which I know nothing about.
It's
Such a touch
George
of ass.
Siegel and Glenda Jackson as
Okay,
Vickery
it must be
couples.
like I was going to say
It's a
George
very
Siegel.
British.
That's
It's
what.
a very British film.
That's kind of what George Siegel does, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, that's all he's known for.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
A
Oscar
couple of
Blake.
wankers having a row.
So
But she did win the Academy Award for Best Actress for that. Film.
So this,
Exorcist,
this-
obviously.
Yeah, I do want to say that even though I enjoy The Sting, Best Picture, my fucking ass.
Yep.
I would give it to American Graffiti before I would give it to The Sting, and I certainly would have given it to The Exorcist over everything else, even though I didn't see the other two. The Exorcist is just damn near flawless filmmaking. American Graffiti is better than I expected it to be when I finally saw it. I was like, oh, I was really expecting something different, and it was quite surprising. And I was surprised. It's funny that George Lucas was able to be. Oh, okay, well, so I give that movie 3 stars.
3. All right. Yeah. Nice.
Yes,
Nice.
The Sting. It's cool, but it's not. It wasn't quite super duper amazing. And
I feel like it's one of those things that when it came out, because it was like, with the music and stuff, created a little bit of a fad. I think at the time there was probably like one movie's like it's hot for a bit, but then it doesn't endure. Some movies are popular and they'll always be popular, and some you get this buzz about them when it was in theaters and people are digging the soundtrack and stuff.
Right.
And for that Oscars, it cleaned up, but then
Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
but I
deserve maybe as much accolades it got at the time.
Yeah. I just feel that The Exorcist was just absolutely.
I almost wish I had shown The Exorcist instead of Shane now. For
Just because we got a couple of minutes on the overtime, so just to make my point really quick that I was saying about George Lucas, it's interesting because I think American Graffiti in a way is such for anybody that's seen it is sort of like it's got to be his most personal film. He seems like a real pessimist. George Lucas seems like he's a real melancholy, bummed out, like negative pessimist all the time, right? And American Graffiti is a very pessimistic film. And it's like, sort of, it's funny that the one time that George Lucas is able to be like the most human is when he's being like totally like pessimistic and like just wanting to die.
He should release like a special edition where like there's like aliens and like droids and shit in the background.
Newt Gunray shows up.
Jabba the Hutt.
Wonton Sook is perfectly regal. All right. Well, so we've got is there anything anybody would like to discuss about these films before we call it? We have a couple of minutes left on the overtime timer. So if there's anything anybody wants to bring up or discuss,
since we're talking about Star Wars, just really quick, I want to point out that next Friday is Force Friday, which is the official beginning of the countdown for the new Star Wars.
Yes.
We're going to be planning a few Star Wars based events, and there'll be some Star Wars screenings.
There will be a special, as we mentioned before previously. There will be a special Saturday where we'll be screening all 6 films.
Right.
We're not sure what order we're going to do them in. If we're going to do them, we've
got a few ideas.
We'll probably either be doing them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or we're possibly considering one of the alternate methods that where you start with like Star Wars, you go Star Wars Empire, then you go 1, 2, 3 then Jedi or something like that.
Just go chronologically so I can sleep in.
But.
Yeah, I can see that being a factor.
No shit. Yeah, well, we may.
So there's going to be a bunch of Star Wars stuff, and then obviously culminating with the release of the new movie, which anybody who wants to come to,
which we should plan. We should all plan an evening where us all
because we're all Star Wars fans.
I don't see why we wouldn't all see it opening night.
We should all try to go see it together when it comes out.
I've been to every midnight showing.
Every
Star Wars.
We haven't for the original trilogy, but for the new ones. Everything, even the stupid Clone Wars.
Yeah, even that we went to.
We were like, we were like, should we go? I'm like, dude, it's a Star Wars film. How are we not going to go to the fucking midnight opening night? So
Force Friday next Friday.
Even though I'll talk a lot of shit on Star Wars now. Any other orders of business this week? I don't know. I think maybe just doing an early thing might be. Might be a winner.
I think it's a good idea. I mean,
my
if anybody else
getting cold.
So all right. Well, then let's call it. Let's call it. That's going to be it. Let's do our introductions.
Congealed by now.
Do our introductions. I'm Ed.
I'm John.
I'm Condi.
I'm Chris.
I'm Kenzie.
I'm Matt.
And we'll be back. We don't know what we're watching. We're going to find out right now. And we'll be back next week with more hilarity at the Cinemarijuana Theatre. So thanks for tuning in.
Good night.